Universal has now released the sequel to Nobody, following Hutch and his family going on a vacation after he wants to take a break from being an assassin, where this vacation becomes one they'll never forget as this one becomes deadly. But that's pretty much the main premise of the movie. I will not be spoiling anything, not giving anything away. And Nobody 2. We got a sequel to Nobody. I actually really like Nobody. I think it's a really good film with great action, great characters, and y'all know him as Saul. I know him from The Office. Real people know where we know him from. Incredibles 2. But jokes aside, Bob Odenkirk being an action star, I was kind of iffy on that first one. But then when I watched it, it shocked me on how much I really liked it. Great action, great cinematography, great, just everything. But then they announced that they were going to make a sequel because the first one actually made a pretty good big buck at the box office. And so, yeah, I was down. I would say that this was honestly an honorable mention for me this year and as my most anticipated. And is it a worthy sequel? Yes, it is. Look, I actually walked out really liking Nobody 2. Me and my dad both saw it. He's the one who showed me that first one, and we both really liked this movie. I'm gonna get onto the things I liked about this movie, and then I'll get onto the things I was not too crazy about. So the first thing I really like is Bob Odenkirk himself. He is honestly really good in this movie. You kind of get more of a emotional arc to him as he's an assassin now. He's going back to his old ways, but he can't really show up to his family. And honestly, not trying to make this a pun, but he's honestly a nobody to his family. His kids don't really see him that much. His wife never shows his wife tries to wants him to come, but he can never make it to family dinner, basketball games, or just anything with his family. So him saying that he wants to do this vacation truly makes you feel for him because he truly does care about his family and really wants to hang out with them. And I was down for that. Obviously, he's the mad killer who has some unique ways of fighting. And I also like the family this time around. The family were more relevant in this movie. The wife, we kind of get tidbits of lore about her. How maybe I had a theory that she might actually used to work with Hutch, and that's how she met. How she used to be a sharpshooter. She used to actually be really good with guns and stuff, and it's kind of good lore. And the kids, the brother is more, following his father's footsteps, becoming more aggressive, more vigilant, and it's kind of interesting that obviously the daughter doesn't really do much. And also the grandpa character, Christopher Lloyd, who is still alive. That freaking legend is going to live till the day I die, because obviously Back to the Future, we all know what I'm talking about. That's a top 5 favorite movie. Anyway. But he was obviously funny, the funny grandpa in this movie, like how he was in the last one, but also coming out as a badass. But he was also really good, along with the brother of this character, who kind of learned some new samurai tricks and stuff. And I really liked them in this movie. They were more, used well. I also like the new characters in this movie. You get some stuff about the Somerville owner slash sheriff, who is wanting to protect this town and doesn't really want to do this drug deal thing. I also like Colin Hanks, who is, I just learned, is the son of Tom Hanks. Him and his father have something in common.
I am a sheriff, like my father before me.
I will say I was not the biggest fan of the main villain of this movie. I'll get into my complaints. But I really did like the new characters, and I really hope we kind of get an expansion of this movie. Obviously, this movie's an action movie, so yes, the action is 2 times better. I like how unique they make it. Well, it's him fighting with a claw from a claw machine, him using the hammer, those hammer things at the arcades, or the third act of this movie, which blew my mind at the whole carnival, and I really dig that. And just. I will say, this movie is so unique in its fighting, and its cinematography is so beautiful and perfect. And, it's bloody, it's gory, it's violent. It really gives you those vibes of the first one. It's the ante, it ups everything, really, with the action. It also is kind of campy, because this guy is just a dad who you don't really expect, and people even make fun of him for being such a badass. I really like that, because it definitely is more funny in its ways, where it knows it's trying to be funny, and it's trying to be more humorous. Just like the first one kind of was, basically, but also pretty pretty serious. I'll say the movie kind of had like an emotional beat trying to go for something. I wouldn't say that it finished that, but I wouldn't call that a complaint. But it does have some emotional beats where like you feel for Hutch, you feel for his family, you feel for them. I would say I was not the biggest fan, but I did like the drug thing. There was just one thing I wasn't the biggest fan of, which I'll get into in my complaints now. Now I'm going to get into my complaints of things I wasn't the biggest fan of in this movie. I was not the biggest fan of the villain in this movie. I did not like her. Sharon Stone is a great actress, and I love her work. But she was not. It's not her acting. Her acting's fine, but she's just more campy, more goofy. And she honestly did not feel like a threat at all, if I'm being honest. She kind of felt she was just dragged into the story being the leader of this whole drug corporation thing that's going on in the Somerville area, which kind of just didn't make sense. I feel like I feel like Colin Hanks is Abel, the sheriff, who should have been the bad guy because he was very hateable. I mean, she was pretty evil too, but I just wasn't like really like thinking of her as the villain. I guess that kind of goes with my complaint with the first one. I mean, the villain was kind of not good in these movies. They don't really do the villains that well, but I did like Colin Hanks. He was very hateable, but I don't know. He had a very punchable face. No offense, but with the villain, I wasn't also the biggest fan of the drug thing. It kind of felt like it was just one scene and they just didn't matter about it. Sure, I like the characters that are involved with it, like these people, and that kind of dragged into the third act, but like it just felt like it was just unnecessary. Like, why did it have to be here? It also kind of didn't make sense to like why Hutch had to be involved. He kind of just wanted to do it because he was a good man, which I do like, but like I was just like, okay, sure, why not? I'll also say that when I learned the runtime of this movie, it was 1 hour and 30 minutes, and I was shocked because it felt longer than that. The movie, and the reason I say that is because the movie kind of has pacing issues. While it's kind of like between action scenes where they're just trying to fill something after an action scene, it kind of can be like, how are we here? Weren't we at the hotel? Now we're at the water park. Now we're at the fair fight. Like, what is going on right now? So it kind of can be like, eh. But that's pretty much all the complaints I have with the movie. I don't have much. I mean, I'm not saying this movie's like a masterpiece by anything. That's just because I have little complaints. But I do think that those things can hold it back from being it. I do think this movie is still really good. I like Bob Odenkirk and what he did in this movie, what he does. But I really will say, if you're someone who really liked the first one like me, you're going to walk out loving this movie. But if you're someone who thought the movie was okay, I think you're probably going to have the same reaction. And if you're someone who did not like that first Nobody movie, you're definitely going to hate this one. But that, everybody, is my review on Nobody 2. I want to thank you all for being here. Please comment your thoughts on Nobody 2. Tell me, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next video. Peace.